So you're going to bite the bullet. You've got a friend that's interested in teaching you the game of Magic the Gathering, or you feel like, hey, this is something I want to try out. I've seen advertisement for it. My favorite YouTubers talked about it. Well, great. Here's your one-stop shop to tell you what Magic the Gathering, or MTG, is. Now, Magic the Gathering is a tabletop and digital collectible card game. There's a little bit of a collectible aspect to it as far as you can make money off of this and you can invest into rare cards, but there's also a game that's built around it too that's a lot of fun to play. The game itself was released back in 1993 and was primarily headed up by Wizards of the Coast, also known as WotC. It's now a subsidiary of Hasbro, the same people that bring you Monopoly, Operation, and Guess Who. Without Magic the Gathering, trading card games like Pokemon and Yu-Gi-Oh! Probably would not have the foothold in the market, and they wouldn't be able to take a lot of the mechanics and just the ideas that the game has brought itself. A lot of other board games have also taken a lot of their mechanics and their ideas and inspiration from Magic the Gathering itself. So this granddaddy card game is definitely worth a try if you haven't already. And if you want to give a feel for it there, I like to say that it's a combination of it feeling like poker, feeling like chess, and feeling like the card game called Flux. There's a little bit of chance involved into it, so if you're a lucky person or you like that aspect in games, it's got it, but it's also got a lot of strategy to it as well. So if you are pretty good at figuring out statistics, you're trying to figure out the luck of your draw, and figure out what kind of plays and moves you can make, Magic has got both of those things for each and every one of those players. Now for the setting and background and lore, as the player, you are a multi-dimensional traveler known as a planeswalker. You're battling against others, or you're working alongside other planeswalkers. You have a deck of cards that you carry alongside you, and it's known as your library, which allows you to draw energy and cast spells from the different worlds, known as planes in this universe, that you have traveled to. This is also representative from the different sets you can buy. Some worlds are giant cityscapes with rival guilds, others can be centered around a gothic or eldritch horror theme, or it could be a Neo-Tokyo aesthetic, so the creatures and spells you may have access to can vary depending on what sets and what years you decide to play this game. Now, the nice thing about Magic the Gathering is not a one-size-fits-all game. You have the ability to play casually if you want to with friends around your kitchen table, or maybe going to a library, or maybe even in your college campus. Or there's also competitive scenes where you can go to a local gaming store if you want to, or you can go digitally and try to go the esports route to play and win big with Magic the Gathering. You get a lot of choice on what kind of artwork you'd like to feature in your decks, the sleeves you get to bring, the playmats you get to bring, the dice you roll, and even the different themes that you'll bring into your decks and your game style itself. There's a lot of different personalities, and there's a lot of work that's been put into making Magic the Gathering a fantastic game for not just a one type of player, but many across multiple facets. My goal with this video specifically is to give you a little bit of background on Magic the Gathering itself, tell you how to get started, and explain a little bit about how the game would work, so if you're interested, you can dive right in and get to playing right away. Now, I'm going to come out right with it. I'm not sponsored by Wizards of the Coast, Hasbro, or Magic the Gathering in itself, but there are multiple ways to get started in this game, and my preferred way to play it is the paper version, playing on the tabletop where you have the physical cards, physical dice, and playmat, and sleeves and everything in hand. That's my preferred way to play this game. A little bit of nostalgia, but also some of it allows me to get away from video games and other electronics that I am focused and glued to the entire day. Now, I would be naive to say that that's the best way to learn how to play the game, and I'd be ignorant to say that's the only way to play it, but there is a digital way to play Magic the Gathering, and that's through the port called Magic the Gathering Arena, or MTGA. You can download it mobile, you can download it on the computer, but what it allows you to do is you get to download it for free. It teaches you how to play the game step by step without having to have a monetary investment, without having to put skin in the game. You gain access to digital cards and all the rest of that jazz, and you get to play with it just like Yu-Gi-Oh's port does, just like Pokemon does, and just like Hearthstone likes to do it too. But it's Magic the Gathering, and you're actually playing Magic the Gathering. You can play with your friends, but more often than not, you'll probably be playing against AI, or you'll be playing against random opponents across the universe. So go ahead, give it a try. It's a great way to try it for the most budget way. But I'm also going to tell you how to get started in the paper version of Magic the Gathering. Now, paper Magic, there are three ways to learn how to play this game. The first one's kind of an honorable mention. If you had a friend that's been putting this little bug in your ear about, hey, have you ever heard of Magic the Gathering? Or, hey, have you ever played like a deck building game? Or, hey, have you ever tried this thing out? Or, hey, I want to show you my collection, or show you how much this card's worth, or whatever. Chances are they're probably trying to pique your interest, and they want to teach you how to play Magic. I am one of those people. I've taught well over 30 people how to play this game through college, in my time working in coffee shop, and actually in my time at the bank, and people at church, and just people at local gaming stores. I love to teach people how to play this game. I have decks on standby to teach brand new players how to do it, and I've had a lot of experience in teaching people how to play this game. So talk to them, your friend. They may not be the best teacher, but they'll at least be passionate about trying to get you in this game and giving you a taste of it. Now, if you're fairly introverted, or you have social anxiety, or you just desire to play kitchen table for the rest of your life, and maybe you have a good friend or a group of friends that play board games with you, then I'd recommend maybe you go and pick up the starter kit or the game night kit. You may have to put all the money forward, you have to put the skin in the game, or maybe you guys can split it down the middle like Warhammer sets, but you guys go pick these up because they're designed for newbies to get a taste of the game. It gives you fully completed 60-card decks that are play tested to play against each other. They're not the strongest thing, they're not going to win you every single game, but it will give you a taste for it. And then later down the road, if you wanted to venture into different formats like Commander, Modern, or Pauper and start building your collection that way, you can, but at least you learn how to play this game and you get started with some cards for your collection. Now, the third and final alternative that I mentioned here is go to a friendly local gaming store, or FLGS. The reason why I say friendly is because you want to make sure they have a heart of somebody who wants to be friendly with you and wants to teach you how to play this game and is not just going after your pocketbook. Now, they are a business, so I recommend that you do expect to go spend some money if you're going to a local gaming store. And if you're going to go buy products, don't go buy them at your Walmart or Target or other big box store, but buy them at the local place, because local gaming stores, especially the friendly ones, are geared towards, yes, selling you products and making some money, but they also want to have a safe place for you to be a nerd and get to play with other nerds. Chances are they probably also have tools or people that will be willing to teach you how to play Magic. I know that one of the local gaming stores I was at in Oklahoma, whenever Wizards of the Coast got rid of their welcome decks for teaching people that they gave out for free, they said, listen, Wizards of the Coast, send us the starter deck so that way we can teach people how to play with this deck. So I do know that there's infrastructure in place to be able to teach brand new people how to play this game. But it's also a great place that you can learn how to buy singles, you can get access to packs, but you can also have a safe place to play casually, or maybe even join up in tournaments if you are a competitive player or even a casually competitive player. So now that you know a little bit of the background of Magic the Gathering, you know how to get started with the game, you're probably wondering, okay, well, how does this game even play? Is this something that I should be interested in? Well, Magic the Gathering is played where you and at least one other player will sit across from the table from each other. You win by bringing your opponent's life total from 20 to 0, or by having them draw from an empty library, or by having other in-game effects, such as poison counters or I win the game cards that allow you to win the game. Ultimately, it's up to your deck and how you build it that will determine how you plan to win this game. Now, to achieve victory, you and your opponent will have a 60-card deck apiece, consisting of 1 to 5 colors of cards. These different colors will determine what kind of spells and what kind of lands you'll have included in your deck. Some colors favor smaller creatures, some favor bigger creatures. Some have abilities or effects that allow you to search for the perfect piece out of your deck to play, and other ones are great at killing or stalling your opponent. I'm not planning on going in full detail of the different color identities and the color pie in itself and what their strengths and weaknesses are, but know that there is strategy towards playing multicolored decks. At the start of the game, you and your opponent will draw 7 cards, and that will be your hand, and you play your lands and your spells from your hand. You then alternate back and forth between one each other and playing your lands and playing your spells until eventually you meet one of the victory conditions, be it the 20 to 0, draw from empty library, poison counter, or I win the game cards. At the start of the game, you and your opponent will draw 7 cards, which will be your starting hand from your library. These will be the spells and lands that you're able to cast at the start of the game. You'll alternate back and forth, passing to one player to the other, drawing a card at the start of every single one of your turns until the victory condition is met. Now, there are other formats, like I mentioned earlier, other ways to play the game, and other house rules that you can include to make your gaming experience a little bit more fun and more tailored towards the environment you're playing in. But ultimately, the rules and the concept of the game is still the same across all the different formats. And with that, that concludes my introduction into Magic the Gathering. Hopefully this helped you all out, and I look forward to bringing more content to you in the future. Until the next time, we'll see you guys, and stay safe. Bye.